Man, I really wish I had the best trail camera in the world. Oh wait, I do. It's an Exodus trail camera, guys. Do you want one? We're gonna give one away. Simple as this. Like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and comment for extra entries. If you're a subscriber, long-term subscriber, you know the drill. You know how this works. If you're new, that's how you do it. Simple as that. We're gonna give one of these bad boys away. If you want to win, like, comment, and subscribe. Free camera? Why not?
So, we're out here killing some time today, guys, in the gun blind. And it's got me thinking about habitat. We're here at the end of the season. There's a lot of things I'm thinking about doing on properties that I maybe am using or hunting on. There's things that you should be thinking about as well, because it's all about planning and creating the ultimate whitetail parcel when it all comes down to it. So, let's talk logging. Let's talk timber stand improvement. Let's talk about getting rid of certain tree species to ultimately create better whitetail habitat. There's a lot of trees that we think about logging. If you've had experience logging timber up to this point, and maybe you haven't, and thankfully you're coming to the right place. And if I had to give you a couple tips right off the bat before you ever bring a logger into your property, guys, is bring numerous loggers into your property. That's one of the best tips that I can give anybody, because the timber market is very hard to understand. It's very hard to get a given price on what something's worth. So in order to keep, I guess, a logger honest, you bring in a couple of them, you get a couple prices, and you get a fair deal. Then you know what the best price is for your property. I've seen tens of thousands of dollars in difference, guys. So make sure you're taking care of that stuff and doing this strategically if you are going to log your property. But with that being said, okay, you're going to have loggers come into your property. What type of timber should they be taking out? Well, that's really ultimately up to you, but I have some personal preferences that most people likely do not ever think about, or don't want to take out, I should say. Now, let's just state the obvious here. I'm not talking about your black walnuts and things like that. Black walnuts are they're less than ideal trees for really the ultimate whitetail parcel. If you're looking to get rid of those, I have no issues with that. I mean, there's value in them. There's money in them. Put that money in your pocket, reinvest it into the property, help pay the property off, buy some trail cameras with the money, buy some tree stands, do whatever you have to do to buy equipment maybe to make your property better if that's the ultimate goal. So I'm not talking about walnuts. The tree that I'm really going to talk about today is your oak, and especially your white oak. Okay, so I think about what I call the timber belt of the country, and it's all dependent on where you are as far as valuable timber goes. But when I think of the timber belt, I think of southern Wisconsin through Missouri over to Kentucky, everywhere in between, parts of Illinois. I think about the high amounts of white oaks. And let's say you've had a logger out to your property, and what did you most likely tell that logger? Take everything out except for the white oaks. Leave most of my white oaks. And from a strategy standpoint, I don't think that's the best idea. And here's a couple reasons why I think that. Removing white oaks from a property, I think, is a good reason, because then we're going to eliminate how many oaks are dropping acorns. And I know what you're thinking, Brett, this doesn't sound like a good idea. Why would I do that? Because here's the thing, the time of the year in which oaks are dropping, if you are an early season hunter, is a very tough time to hunt. And why is that? Because oaks are dropping everywhere. So if there's no strategy as to where you're hunting based off of which oaks or a patternable movement based off of what they are doing, feeding on these acorns, how can you ever get good at consistently killing deer in the early season? Well, you can't. So by removing some oaks, and I'm not saying we have to take them all out, there's a good chance that we're going to obviously remove a fair amount of acorn producing trees, which is fine, especially if it ultimately means opening up the canopy, allowing sunlight to hit the forest floor and create new regeneration, which quite honestly is going to create way more beneficial cover and browse that is healthier, maybe not healthier for the deer, but more beneficial to the deer throughout the entire season. Why do I say that? Because think about when acorns drop. They drop early. When are they gone? Normally by mid-season. Now, don't get me wrong, there are instances in which I've seen red oaks make it all the way through the year because they're less, I won't call them less palatable, but less desirable in certain portions of the country. And they become more desirable when there's nothing left. Well, then they've made it through the season, assuming there wasn't 2 feet of snow, and the deer could still get at them. But getting back to the strategy of this, if you take white oaks out of your property, which I'm okay with you doing, do it strategically. Keep them in clusters maybe so that you can make a strategy or a game plan as far as hunting goes. Maybe think about where the deer are bed. Keep these oaks in a transition area instead of maybe on the perimeters of the property. And then, where there's a transition area, there's probably a destination food source. And if there's a destination food source, now we have that whole entire that pattern figured out. And you can ultimately create that pattern by making strategic moves like this one, okay? By taking out oaks in strategic locations. Now, there's a lot of things you guys got to look into: predominant winds, your access routes, and a lot of the stuff I can tell already is probably way over your heads. Well, bring in an expert. It doesn't have to be Brett Smith with Whitetail Land Management Services. There's probably other good people out there. I can't speak for any of them. I don't know. But if you're unsure, reach out to somebody who does know more about this stuff. And ultimately, don't be afraid of taking white oaks off your property, guys. I've heard it time and time again. Leave all the oaks, leave all the oaks, leave all the oaks. And although some of you have had some luck killing deer off of acorns, it's hard to do on a consistent basis in consistent locations. And if you can't do it on a consistent basis in consistent locations, the chances of you having consistent success probably pretty low. So there are a lot of valuable trees that are in your woods, but one of them that I really like to think about logging when logging a property, as long as you can do it strategic and make sure you do, the main tree would be the white oak or oaks in general. And going back a step, make sure you're doing this strategically, as if you are going to log your property, you get one chance at this. I see so many people screw up their property, lose tens of thousands of dollars, and once it's done, it's done. So if you are going to log your property, think about oaks, think about maples, think about the hickory, think about your pines, think about everything. Everything has a value, guys. And that's another great thing about the white oak. It has good value. So everything has a value, and everything also has a value when it comes to recreating better deer habitat, which you probably could do by removing some of those really mature trees that are blocking sunlight, especially the oak trees. So if you guys like these videos, you like these topics, you like these informational videos, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you're doing that, guys, you're always entered in our giveaways. And let's face it, who doesn't like some free stuff? See you next time.